Hi there, thank you so much for joining us here on Leading Edge. My name is Jeff Smith, and above all else, we want to say Happy Mother's Day to all our moms out there. And as fate would have it, that is where all of our focus will be today. We're all about moms. Coming up in our final segment, the Leading Edge Mother's Day honoree. But before we get to her, let me introduce our first guest to you, Chelsea Miller. She is an inner child coach and from Axiom Lux joining us here today. Also, Anita Prielipp. She is from Lucas County Job and Family Services. Joining her, Jazmin Woodard there on the end. She is a peer educator with Lucas County Jobs and Family Services as well. All of you, thank you so much for being here on this topic, focusing on moms. The genesis of this for me was reading articles talking about motherhood, going back even 5-6 years ago. And I wonder where your thoughts are on where it is now. But motherhood is 2.5 times a full-time job. So it is the equivalent of 2.5 full-time jobs. Chelsea, you deal with moms who come in, and we'll start with you. I'm just curious, when they get to you, what state are they in?
They are exhausted, they're burnt out, they are anxious, they are depressed, they are drowning. It's just really difficult to watch because it seems like they just don't have any light left. They don't know where to turn. They don't know how to solve this problem of being so exhausted.
And what is kind of fill people in, our viewers in, on how you get them through that?
Yeah, so I'm a parent and inner child coach. And so some of that looks like helping them with emotional regulation skills and coping skills so that they can manage those really high stress moments better when they're with their kiddos. And then it's also things like teaching those skills to their own kids. And then the inner child piece is going back into their own childhoods and figuring out why they feel those ways in the first place and trying to heal those.
When I say, Anita, the fact of how much moms take on these days, I mean, we can talk about our own mothers and what they went through, what moms today are dealing with, but does that equate to you? Does that make sense? Is it more? Is it less? Oh, yeah, it so makes sense. There are so many moms, like you said, that are just overwhelmed because they're working multiple jobs. They're maintaining their home. You know, when a child gets sick, they have to figure out, you know, when can I take my child to the doctors? Do I have to take off a day without pay? Do I have to find a sitter? And that's all early in the morning, and it's stressful. You know, again, moms are overwhelmed at this point. There was a recent 6 years in a row, Motherly.com, they have come out with a state of motherhood list. And we're going to throw some of the factoids that they share with you this year specifically. And one of those was nearly 2 times more women became stay-at-home moms in 2023 than in 2022. And the next one is 52% of working moms say the cost of childcare has made them consider leaving the workforce altogether. Another stress that you see coming to you? It is, yeah, absolutely. And I think that's twofold. I think some moms during the pandemic realized how much they enjoyed being stay-at-home moms and they wanted to stay home. But the other side is the childcare is just astronomical, and they're paying, you know, upwards of $1,000 a month, more than their mortgages most of the time, just in childcare, and then it just doesn't always equal out, and so they're working just to pay for childcare, and it doesn't make financial sense. One of the things that we wanted to talk about today is the No Kidding Ohio Lucas County Raise program, and Anita and Jazmin, they are well embedded with that program. In fact, today we're taping on Thursday. They just came from a school, a TPS school, where they were talking to kids. So, Anita, bring people up to speed on what this program is all about. A statewide program, a national program, but it's got a local focus. Yes, it's a federal, state, and local program through the Child Support Agency. And basically, we're going into the schools 3 days, and we're teaching them. Jazmin would tell her story, and she's very vulnerable with her story. She shares all the struggles she has with raising a child as a single mom. And the students are really listening. And then the second presentation is about establishing paternity and why it's important, and why it's important to wait to have children until they finish their education, get a career, and get in a healthy relationship. And then the third presentation is about how the cost of raising a child. We play the Price is Right game, where we talk about what does it cost for a monthly supply of diapers. Daycare, as we stated earlier, and the students are blown away with how much things cost, and it's really putting a focus on them to realize
children are expensive. And it's always good to wait to have children.
It takes a while for all of us to mature. I'm still waiting. It'll be there eventually. But Jazmin, when you talk to the students, and obviously you're trying to make a connection there, you're trying to make sure something hits home with them.
I try to bring everything to their level so they can understand.
Yeah.
Because I used to be in the same position as them.
I guess bring all of our viewers up to speed. What happened to you? What's your story? What do you share with them?
Growing up, my mom I had a good mom, I had good parents, but I used to also be rebellious. I didn't like listening to my parents. I thought I was young and knew everything. And my mom, she paid out of pocket for me to go on like black college tours, which is HBCU colleges, or I went on, also went on diverse college tours to also get that real feel of college and what it was really like in real life and not just on movies.
Sure.
My mom also took me to the college that I wanted to go to. It was like Howard University. It was a nice HBCU college. She just always guided me to the right things, and I always thought when I was younger I knew everything, and it took a lot of me bumping my head and me getting pregnant by an older guy when I was younger than him. I went through a lot of things because I didn't listen to my mother. So I try to educate the youth on not doing the same things that I do. I try to teach them to break like generational curses. Like, even if we see our parents or our loved ones doing mistakes and things they are not supposed to, once you know better, you do better. So that's our main keys, is to get educated on things that I didn't learn in high school. I didn't know about how much babies cost or what child support really was. I knew that my father was on child support before, but I didn't ever know like really like the start of it all.
Right.
Like, what's the reason behind it? So I learned so much more with just practicing for almost 2 years straight on the child support law, how it works, how to establish paternity.
How old is your child now?
She's 2, she'll be 3 June 13th. Okay. So I just planned her whole party. I did all of that by myself, actually.
Yeah.
So it was exciting to just be able to be blessed that I can do it.
Are your parents still involved in your life?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And you make sure that the students you're talking to know that as well.
And my mom still guides me too. I actually called her about this too. So she told me to just make sure that I pray first and make sure I'm giving good advice to the youth and being honest and truthful. So
Anita was saying you guys just came from a talk at one of our local high schools. What was the aha moment you saw in one of those students' eyes? Something that maybe you guys brought to light they didn't realize?
I always tell them that people always say chase your dreams, right? So it will be a dream if you don't chase your goals. You have to have goals and follow them, or your dream will always be a dream. Mm-hmm. So,
Anita, what do you find as far as resonating in today's youth? And the other thing to point out is, and the pregnancy rate as far as the state of Ohio in teens has gone down.
Yes.
But factoids that are out there, it's still the 25th highest in the nation.
Mm-hmm. But I think, yeah, what they're learning is truly the cost of what a baby, they have no idea how much formula costs. They have no idea how much diapers cost. When we do the Price is Right game and we bring up the diapers, some of them say $25 for a whole month's supply of diapers. That is not the case. Some of them said $50 for daycare for a 6-week-old baby. That is not the case. And so when we give them the actual number and the cost, they are blown away. Yeah. And then we add it up, and then we tell them this is how much you have to make per hour to meet those needs. So that is the biggest aha moment for them.
We're talking about being a mom, the stresses that exist in today's society, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic leading up to our Leading Edge Mom Honoree of the Day. As we go to break, 64% of moms say they need flexible work schedules to return to work. That is another battle that they face. We'll be right back right after this. Welcome back to Leading Edge here on this Sunday. We are talking all things mom on this Mother's Day. The National Retail Federation this week predicted consumers would spend over $35 billion this weekend on moms, and they say that broke down to about $274 per mom. Let me introduce my guests again, Chelsea Miller, Anita Prielipp, and joining us, Mynica Harris. She is a Lucas County Jobs and Family Services mentor as we talk more about reaching young teens and getting a message to them about the seriousness of being a mother, raising a child. Chelsea, there was one thing I wanted to read to you real quick. Welch's, The grape juice, you know, we
Yes.
know that. They commissioned a study back in 2017. Parental burnout is a chronic stress and extreme exhaustion that leads caregivers to feel detached from their children and uncertain about their parenting abilities. That's something I'm sure you see, you understand, and you have to talk through.
I do, yeah, you're right. And it is, parental burnout is a perfect description for it because we are just so completely burnt out and the detachment is there and we're just not connecting as well with our kids. And then we're feeling guilty when we're not able to be as present for them and we're not able to keep our emotions in check for our kids. And then there's all of that guilt in there when we're not being supported in the way that we could be.
When you talk to these young students and you try to, you know, hit them over the head with reality, I mean, is it they believe having a kid is a rite of passage? You are owed this as an adult? What are their feelings about being parents?
I honestly don't think they really know what the procedure is or what it all entails. You know, Jazmin does talk about it's more than just a Facebook post. It's more than just a gender reveal. Parenting is a lifetime, and it's a struggle. And I think they're really learning the lesson through this program.
Mynica, as you mentor and you talk to these young people, what are your three focuses? What do you really try to hit home and make sure that they understand the importance of this? Are you a mom yourself?
Yes, I'm a mother of 3, actually. When I talk,
Well, happy Mother's Day, first and foremost.
Thank you. When I talk to the young kids, one thing or 3 things that I do want them to take home is wait to have kids until your goals is finished. Start your career. Start thinking about the things that you want to become. Get active in, you know, a lot of different things. So you can't just say, oh, well, I want this. You know, you got options.
Right.
You know, don't hold yourself to one pedestal.
And we see independence is important. Is marriage still something that is talked about as you were talking to them? Is it important?
Well, one of the students, he was a young man, and he said he was going to wait to have children until he got in a healthy married relationship. Again, I think presenting that as an option is well, that's a good thing because they don't think of that. They see society as having children without being married, and so we present that. You know, you want to be married, you want to have a healthy relationship, and this is what a healthy relationship looks like. And they were very interested in what our program presents.
Our next graphic here is 67% of moms spend at least $1,000 per month on childcare. 58% of moms report they are primarily responsible for the duties of running a household and caring for children. That was up 2% over 2022. So as we start to wrap up here today and we talk about being a mom, knowing the importance of being a mom, I guess, is that another thing you stress? How important the job, how needed the job is?
It is, and stressing and encouraging to them so that they feel confident and capable in their motherhood and knowing that they're able to manage these things with the right supports.
I asked you guys when we were out front before we started, I said, when you talk to these young people, do you go in there just to give them tools, or are you hoping to scare the hell out of them? Is it a little of both?
I think it does end up being a little bit of both because, you know, when you become a parent, again, that is your responsibility for a long period of time. But yet we are teaching them what are your options and what does it look like. And this is how reality is when you do have a child out of wedlock.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah, so what I'm curious about is I think it's wonderful that you guys are preparing them for meeting their goals and having healthy relationships beforehand. Ultimately, how does that help them once they do become parents? Because those are great aspirations to have, but how does that help them once they are in that space where there's very little support and they still have to pay that amount for childcare and those kinds of things? I'm just curious.
Well, we do, the mentors do, when they tell their story, they do say, yes, it is a struggle to go to college. It is a struggle to have a career, but it is doable. You having a child at an early age is that's not your life sentence.
No.
You know, you can still continue to go on. It's going to be a little harder. It's going to take a little longer, but it is possible.
Mynica, did you have help along the way?
Yes, I actually had my mother's help and my father's help. So yes.
And were you in that situation of the kids you're talking to?
Yes, very much so. I actually had to leave my high school and go to a teen school for pregnant and parenting moms, which was called Polyfox, and it shut down a couple years ago, which I wish it didn't because it's so needed.
Yeah. We see organizations like Mom's House, in fact, this past weekend had its biggest graduation ever, helping those moms get their degrees, continue to work, continue to raise their children. How much help is needed out there? Is there enough help? Is there enough help like you out there, or is more needed? Anita, I'll start with you.
I think there is, I mean, there's significant help out there. We just got to get the message out there. Like our program, you know, we got to get our message out there to the school so they invite us back in. But I think there is a lot of help out there. You know, are we villaging enough with people in our community to support them and to help them reach their goals? Yeah. That's another thing that we need to look at for ourselves. Are we villaging enough to help these people that need our help?
Are you a mom yourself?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Do you think $274 was spent on you this weekend?
I hope so. No.
That's the other thing. I start adding it up in my head, and I'm like, did we spend that much for my wife? Yeah. Listen, all of you, I appreciate the time. I think this on the surface could be a touchy-feely kind of an interview, but I think there is important news to cover here behind this topic, and what you guys are doing, all of you, is fantastic, and I hope the moms of Lucas County and Northwest Ohio appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
We'll be right back right after this. All right, welcome back. As we promised, we are honoring a mom here in our final segment of Leading Edge. And Florence McLennan, she oversees all the block watches here in the region, in the Toledo area. She also is an office manager for the Retired Senior Volunteer Patrol Program. And not to mention, also a Mud Hens ambassador. Mud Hens having a pretty good year so far.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Florence, good to see you. Happy Mother's Day.
Good to see you as well. Thank you.
So, bring us up to speed on you as we honor moms here on this day, and we take a moment to honor a mom who has been so important to the Toledo area. Where do you find the time to be so involved right now?
It just happens.
Yeah.
It
Has that always been you? Somebody to kind of be civically inclined, to put yourself out there and be involved in things?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's who I am.
Why the Block Watch program? Why does that kind of strike a note with you?
Well, I wasn't happy with the way things were going in my neighborhood, so I decided to get involved. And the leader that was leading the group at the time stepped aside, and the coordinator of the program automatically thought that I would step in, and so I did.
How many kids? We were talking about that beforehand. You're a mom of?
4.
4. And we said the oldest being in their 60s, the youngest being in their 50s.
Correct.
Do not currently live in the Toledo area, but as you reflect back, you got to sit here and listen to some of what we talked about in our first 2 segments, and the stresses, the struggles that existed today, maybe existed even when you were raising your children. But do you find similarities between today's kids, today's moms, and what you went through? Or do you think it's different?
I think it's different today for parents. It's a different world out there right now. And so not that when I was raising my children, not that I thought it was especially easy. And I do think once you have children, it's a lifelong journey.
And commitment, right?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think.
Do you still parent?
Oh, yes.
How so? Give me an example.
Well, they might call me for advice, or what should I do about this, or what should I do about that, and can you give me a recipe, or all kinds of things.
All kinds of stuff. We talked about the Retired Senior Volunteer Patrol Program. What is that? Bring people up to speed on that, because you've done media interviews before about that.
I have.
Yeah.
Actually at the station. It's seniors helping seniors. We go out in pairs, we wear uniforms, and we visit with homebound elderly to make sure that they're doing okay, and to see if there's anything that they need that possibly we could make a referral to the area office on aging about, because the area office has a lot more resources than what we do.
We always ask, I can reflect upon when we go to 100-year-old birthdays and we ask those folks, we're like, what's been your best piece of advice for people to live a long, proud life? What's your best piece of advice for moms out there? And as you answer that, I'm going to grab a certain something. I will be right back. Go ahead. What's your advice for people, Florence?
Just stay active. Do your best and stay active.
And that's what you tell your kids?
That's what I tell my kids.
So that's the piece of advice you would tell other moms. What's the biggest piece of advice for moms out there?
Just do your best. Don't be too critical of yourself, and hope that everything works out for the best.
Yeah. Say your prayers, right?
Prayers.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you have a garden, but we've got some tulips for you here,
Well,
just to
thank
say
you so
Happy Mother's
much.
Day.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
gosh,
Those are for
thank
you.
you.
And if we could share them with all of our viewers, we would. But
We absolutely
we hope you have a
would.
blessed day. Thank you so much
Thank
for being
you.
here.
My pleasure.
We'll wrap things up right after this. For a final time this week, hey, be sure wherever you find podcasts, go and look up the Leading Edge podcast. It's a thing. You can check it out. Also, if you missed any part of this show, check out our YouTube page, WTOL. Have a great rest of your day.